Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So here's a clip, and I was sort of watching the entirety of this interview, more or less. This is actress Cree Summers from A Different World, and she's actually been rather prolific in voice acting. So Cree has voiced a lot of different like animation characters and things of that nature. So she's been keeping busy in the acting world, but more so behind the scenes, like I said, as a voice actress rather than like in front of the camera. And she had a recent interview where she was kind of breaking down like her own, like what's going on with her now. She's 55. She's like, I'm postmenopause, I'm postmenopause. And she was talking about how she wasn't or had never been until after menopause, like sexual, really. Just for a little bit of background, Cree has been married before. She was married for like 10 years, from like maybe 2009 or so to like 2019 or something like that. And she's got 2 children from that marriage. And those are only 2 children that she has. And she hasn't been married since then. And so she talks about it a lot. The reason why I'm giving you a little bit more backdrop before I click this video is because I kind of like Cree a little bit. I've kind of always liked Cree. She just seemed like a real laid back person, not a clout chasing type of person, or she got to have a lot of attention all the time. And I think I like that aspect of her because I identify with it. But she has this to say about her current state of being single and her age and where she is in her life. Now, this is J.R. Wisdom has this clip. I'm not going to play his commentary, but we are going to listen to what Cree has to say here.
At 55, I don't think I've clearly chosen a partner that's compatible for me yet. With all I know, I'm too smart to have chosen what I've chosen, Yeah. I could have given myself the credit for how intelligent I really am.
Even actually when you were talking in the beginning about, the kind of people who approach you and like, well, that's just who approaches me. I'm like, well, who do you approach?
I don't approach anybody.
Why not?
I've never done that before. Ever. I don't think I've ever approached a man. I've never asked a man out.
Why?
I don't know now that we're talking about it. I mean, now that I think about it, I mean, what is there to lose?
Right. Yeah. And then you get to actually be in the driver's seat and select.
And I do love the driver's seat.
That's to give yourself credit to not just that you didn't pick the right people, but you have to wait statistically for the right person to pick you.
Yes, what a lovely gift. You're so right. Maybe I'll give it a try.
You really should.
I think I should.
Your best sex, your best relationship, your most erotic life is like that way.
Woo!
That's really cool.
It's very cool.
A lot of people.
Very cool.
It's way better.
I do. Now I want to try it. Oh my God, my girlfriends are just going to be like, we heard you say it on camera. It's on.
For some reason, we just...
That's so embarrassing to say.
I thought that was an interesting thing, because when you listen to what she just said, she said, I'm too smart to have chosen what I chose. I'm too smart to have chosen who I chose. I have yet to find somebody that's compatible with me. And I am too smart to have chosen what I chose. Listen to her say it. I want you to listen to her again.
At 55, I don't think I've clearly chosen a partner that's compatible for me. Yet, with all I know, I'm too smart to have chosen what I've chosen, you know?
Yeah. She says she's embarrassed that at 55, despite the fact that she'd been married before, but that marriage ended, right? And she said, I'm embarrassed to say that at 55, I have yet to have chosen somebody suitable for me. And given all that I know, I was too smart to have chosen what I chose. And that hit a little different because I listened to some of the beginning of this interview where she said, I've always been like men's friends. I've never been like on a date really with them and things of that nature. She said, my first boyfriend was Kadeem from Different World. And she was like, I was 19. So, I was never the girl that was gonna go out. I was never the girl. I was always the homie. I was the homie. And she said, I like the respect that came with being men's friend, being their friend. And I can actually personally relate to that. I do like the respect that I always got when I was around the men. And when you're around them, but you're not trying to sexually be involved with them, and that feeling is kind of mutual, basically, there is a respect that come with that. You sort of being ingratiated as like the little sis or the homie, right? They do have a respect for you. They regard you like a sister. They regard you like, you know what I mean? And so you get something out of that relationship that you basically kind of don't get when you are when you trying to sleep with all of them and all of that. And so given that statement from her earlier in this interview, and then her coming around and saying, I still didn't figure it out though. I still didn't figure it out. But that was actually her problem. The fact that she never figured out how to choose a husband, how to choose a good spouse. This speaks back to our drop as a society away from like traditionalism and into this culture where you get to pick your own mate. And I'm not even saying we needed to have arranged marriages per se, but the value shift to where we don't value courtship and vetting has ruined a lot of marriages. It has kept good marriages from occurring, and it has fostered bad marriages where people get together and they didn't vet correctly. And then sometime down the line, they can't be married anymore because they never lined up the values. They never vetted properly. They got together based on XYZ when really they should have got together. If they had been looking at ABC, they never would have got together because they would have realized this isn't gonna work. So there's no reason for us to waste each other's time, waste the years, waste the effort, waste the energy, have children, go through all this rigmarole just to end up divorced, just to end up where we can't even come together no more and be a couple no more. Like we don't even like each other. Like going through life and realizing I don't like that person. The husband realized he don't like his wife. The wife realized she don't like her husband. That's horrible. That's horrible. But when we had a such thing as courtship, where, because the reality is women need help choosing partners. Women need help with that. Men need help too, but women need like a different kind of help with that. Women need their brothers, their fathers, the men in their life, the familial men, to look at her potential husband or the guy who's courting her and give his verdict of this man, his honest assessment of this man and this man's compatibility with his daughter, with his niece, with his sister, whoever she is to him. And this can work anytime your father's in your life as a daughter and you have a respectful relationship with your father. He'll be honest with you more often than not. Right? It doesn't have to be this picture perfect thing. My situation wasn't picture perfect. But when those men came around to try to marry me, I didn't just go off on my own thinking and on my own emotions, because I knew that could be tricky. That could be tricky. And this is a very serious decision, who you're going to marry, because I am in the submitted position here. So I'm vulnerable in this marriage. I'm the vulnerable one, especially when we're talking about getting married and we Muslim. I can't just easily back out of this marriage. This is not simple. If he don't want to let me go out of this marriage, that's going to be interesting for me to get out of it. So I have to be careful about who I'm getting into that situation with, because I'm immediately called upon to expose my underbelly right away. And so with that in mind you, I'm like 19, 20 years old. And if a guy is too persistent and I'm kind of thinking about maybe he could be potential, I would bring him to my dad. Like, you got to talk to my dad. And the first red flag is if they didn't want to do that. If a suitor, when I was young, and a suitor, and he didn't want to talk to my dad, it was up. There's a reason why you don't want to talk to a man. Why would you not want to talk to my father? What's wrong with you? So automatically I assumed you were just up to no good, because why would you not want to talk to my dad? What man with a backbone don't want to talk to, if you trying to court a woman and marry her, you don't want to talk to her daddy, and you know she got a relationship with her dad, and she's inviting you to, and she telling you her dad want to talk to you, and you make excuses, you don't want to do it. It's up. We don't have to talk no more. Don't call me. Don't call me. You don't have to call me, because you don't want to talk to my dad. It was disrespectful, and it showed me that you don't have good intent for this. You don't have a good intention for me. If you can't sit and look at my daddy in his eyes and talk about what you intend to do for me, then you don't have good intent for me. Period. Point blank. I don't care what you say. And that's the approach that I took. That's the approach that I took. And it weeded out a lot of foolish men. And I ended up in a first marriage that lasted. Mainly because I had my brother, my older brother, and I had my dad. And I was not ashamed or afraid. I wasn't going to be talked out of or have my emotions so involved that my mind already made up. So I'm not going to, it don't matter what my daddy say, or it don't matter what my brother say. Yeah, it do matter. Even if I think, man, you know what I'm saying, I feel this way, feel that way. If they had a thumbs down, that's a problem for you, buddy. That's problematic, because I'm not very inclined to go against my father. in this matter. I'm not, and I'm grown, and he not forcing me. But if he sat and talked to me and he laid out why, oh, it's up for you. Might as well go ahead on. And if women did that, even today, if women did that, a whole lot of foolishness would be avoided. She couldn't pick the right man because what man was in her life? She expressed being able to be friends with men or being able to have like good relationships with men. So where were the men in her life, and did she ever bring her romantic interests around her dad, around any brothers if she had any, around any men that loved her because she was her and he was going to look out for her and he was going to tell her the red flags he saw that she missed? This is what women really need. And a lot of women are so strong, independent, I do what I want to do, and got that mindset, oh, can't nobody tell me what to do because I'm grown. Okay, fine. But that's one of the functions of your dad. That's one of his functions. He's the filter that you weed these men through. But you don't want to bring these men to your father, because in some instances, and I'm not necessarily even saying this is her instance, but in a lot of instances, y'all are just running around with these guys and sleeping with them. Ain't no need to bring them to your daddy. You ashamed to bring him to your dad because you know what you've been doing, and your mind made up anyway. You gonna be with this dude regardless of what he got going on or don't got going on, and regardless of what your daddy say. So once your daddy find out you intertwined with this dude, and then he see all the red flags, and he like, why is my daughter dealing with that guy when I raised you better than that? Why are you dealing with him? And daddy, da, da, da. And you got all these excuses. That's a lot of the problem. Headstrong. Even if you got a father in your life, you're not bringing these men because y'all are slipping and sliding into situationships. You can't bring a situationship to your daddy. Not if your daddy worth the salt going bread, you can't. Not if you got if you got an ounce of respect for your father. You are not so willing to bring no little situationship to your daddy. Especially if he the type of daddy to hold you accountable. He gonna start asking questions. And you're not gonna want to answer those questions because that's your father. But then you should have used the teaching that your father got or gave you in order to translate that to deal with these men. And that'd be the problem. Because there's no way she's 55 and did not have the wherewithal to choose a mate. How do you not gain that understanding at some point before 55? And now she's in a position where she just has to accept the fallout for that. She just got to accept the outcome because there ain't nothing else to do. There is nothing else for her to do but accept it. At this point, can't turn back time. You can't go back. You can't go back and make different decisions. And any different decision you would make now is not likely to end up in that outcome. It's a lesson for the young ladies. Pay attention. If you got a father in your life that you got respect for and you got a rapport with and you got a relationship with him and you old enough to be, trying to get into these serious relationships, committed relationships, then you need to stop fooling around with these little situationships that you don't want your daddy to know about and being, trying to shack up and sleep around with these guys, and now you shame and tell your daddy that's what you're doing. If you get one that's trying to be serious about you, bring him around your father and then listen to what your father has to say. That's the key. That's the other side of the coin. Listen. And then take heed to what he said. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host of The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.